So it's finally upon us. WrestleMania is here. Tonight is WrestleMania Night 1 from Raymond James Stadium in Tampa Bay, Florida. Everyone's excited. It's been a long time coming. It's really been a WrestleMania that's 2 years in the making, really, isn't it? Of course, we had last year's WrestleMania. It was meant to take place inside Raymond James Stadium, but it got moved to the Performance Center in Orlando, Florida, on a closed set in front of 0 fans. Tonight marks the first time that fans actually return to WWE programming as well. It's just very exciting. For any pro wrestling fan, this is Christmas, this is the Super Bowl, this is whatever holiday you celebrate, frankly. It's the most exciting time of the year, and I'm very excited. I'm really excited for it tonight because I think we're going to see a really fun show. Again, you can talk about the build, and you can talk about the lack of it, and you can talk about the problems with some of the matches and the stories being told. Lord knows there have been plenty, but I think irrespective almost of the build, which is fortunate for WWE, irrespective of the build, we're going to get a good show. So what I wanted to do along with today, we've got so much stuff dropping today on the channel. We've got previews dropping, there's going to be some match previews that are going to be dropping just before WrestleMania. Of course, we're going to be doing a watch-along, live reactions to WrestleMania 37 tonight, so be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Click the notification bell. You'll be notified when we go live. I'm also going to do a reaction after it goes off the air as well, talking briefly through the show, getting everyone's opinions, getting everyone's thoughts on the matches, what happened, what didn't happen, the good, the bad, and the ugly of WrestleMania 37 Night 1. But what I did want to talk about first today is I wanted to do a bit of last-minute WrestleMania news. What's been rumored, what's been announced, what have WWE released, all this kind of stuff. And as we get closer and closer to WrestleMania 37 Night 1 going on the air, we do have some more news that's coming out about the show. So last night, just before SmackDown, WWE officially announced the opening and closing matches for WrestleMania 37 Night 1. And to be honest, I think this was expected. I think this was expected, and I think the reason that WWE announced these matches, one was to continue the hype for the event, which everyone has anyway, but it gets people buzzing. And also, I think there were some rumors that started to come out. There were some reports that started to come out about the match order, about what was going to be the opening match, what was going to be the closing match. If you've watched any of the videos that I've done talking about WrestleMania so far this year, specifically Night 1, I've been a big proponent that the first match should have been Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley for the WWE Championship, and that's exactly what we've got, because WWE has officially announced the opening and closing matches for WrestleMania 37 Night 1. Drew McIntyre versus WWE Champion Bobby Lashley will kick off Night 1 inside Raymond James Stadium tonight on Peacock, on pay-per-view, around the world, however you watch WrestleMania 37 tonight, whereas Bianca Belair versus SmackDown Women's Champion Sasha Banks will be the main event of the show. Now, Bianca Belair, who was actually celebrating her 32nd birthday yesterday, reacted to the big news on Twitter. She said, quote, "The best birthday present ever. This is more than just about me. This is more than just about us. Grateful, blessed, we are creating history." So there you go. We have an official announcement when it comes to the matches, the opening matches and the closing matches for WrestleMania 37. Now, Drew McIntyre also responded to this. I also wanted to talk about Drew McIntyre's reaction to this, because Drew McIntyre previously stated he actually wanted to open WrestleMania because he wanted to be the first superstar to come out in front of the live crowd since the COVID-19 pandemic hit. And to be honest, that was my rationale for it as well. McIntyre said he feels bad for the rest of the card having to follow he and Lashley, but this is what McIntyre said, quote, he sent out a tweet. He said, quote, "I've said for the last year I want to be the first person out when crowds return. I can't wait for that noise to hit. I just feel bad for everyone having to follow me and Bobby. We'll set the standard. You all try and keep up. Hashtag WrestleMania." So there you go. And to be honest, there's a lot of things that WWE hasn't got right during this build to WrestleMania 37 so far, but this decision is absolutely right. This decision is absolutely correct. It's the right call. I think it fits everything. I think it fits everything perfectly. As I mentioned before, that first entrance, that first reaction, that first entrance they have from the crowd, if they plan that right, if they get that right, they can really make it into a WrestleMania moment. And that's the reason we had the SmackDown we had last night, frankly. The SmackDown last night was a bit of a glorified clip show. And in past, what's interesting about that, and I am going off on a tangent already, but what's interesting about that is back in the day, if you watched the final SmackDown before, say, WrestleMania 22, WrestleMania 23, 24. Because they were so close to WrestleMania in the past, they just would do a clip show, or they just would do a couple of matches, and the rest would be promos or pre-tapes or all that kind of stuff. And that's what last night's SmackDown was. That's really what last night's SmackDown was. So that was no surprise or anything like that. But when it comes to the decision, to have this McIntyre open and Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks close it, it's the right call. It absolutely is the right call. Drew McIntyre, last year's WrestleMania was about him. Last year's WrestleMania was really all about him. It was about his moment. It was about crowning the new top babyface. It was about anointing Drew McIntyre as the next WWE champion, the big babyface in WWE, the face of Monday Night Raw, going back to eliminating Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble. I mean, you saw the reaction that got when he eliminated Brock at the Rumble, and everyone felt so bad for him. Everyone felt so bad and so sympathetic towards Drew McIntyre, because he was meant to have this big moment. He was meant to win his first WWE Championship in the main event of WrestleMania in front of a live crowd in Raymond James Stadium, and because of the pandemic, it didn't happen. Instead, he was the main event of Night 2 of WrestleMania 36 in front of 0 people, won his first WWE Championship. It was taped. It wasn't even live, and everyone felt bad for him. Whilst they were congratulating him, you can't take it away from him. He's still the WWE Champion. It's still a massive moment for him, but it wasn't the big moment that I think WWE wanted. And I think it's always been WWE's aim to give him that moment. That's the reason he's not WWE Champion now. Had WrestleMania gone exactly as planned last year, if it took place in front of people, Drew McIntyre probably, if he had the same year that he had, would still be WWE Champion at this point. They would have said, just keep going, you're the top guy on Raw. But with fans returning, they went, look, we can do something big here. We can do something big, and we can give McIntyre the moment he didn't have last year. And that's always been the plan. So not only is he going to probably win the WWE Championship in front of a live crowd, but on top of that as well, he's going to get this big entrance. And he's going to get the first entrance. And I mentioned this about the entrance when it came to the kickoff show. When it came to SmackDown last night, the matches that were on SmackDown last night with the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal and the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match, that probably at one point was scheduled for WrestleMania. Probably going to be on the kickoff show for night 1. And then they looked at it and said, actually, wait a minute. That first person that makes the entrance in front of a live crowd, the first person that has an entrance in front of a live crowd, the first time that's happened for over 12 months, that's a big deal. And we've learned over the course of the last 12 months of the pandemic that the fans truly are the lifeblood, not only of WWE, but just of professional wrestling. Once you take that crowd away, professional wrestling becomes difficult to watch, and it certainly doesn't have that just special feel that makes you fall in love with wrestling, that sort of organic, raw passion, the electricity that a crowd offers. Without that, wrestling can feel a bit stale. It can feel cold. And we've had to deal with that for pretty much over a year on WWE television. And WWE's realized this and looked at it and said, okay, so the moment that fans return, that's a big moment. That's a really big and iconic moment, and it shouldn't be wasted. It shouldn't be wasted on the kickoff show. No disrespect to those that competed last night, but it shouldn't be wasted. If they play their cards right, it can be a WrestleMania moment. And they realize that. That's why Drew McIntyre, I think, is going to get that honor. I think Drew McIntyre is going to have the first entrance in the opening match at WrestleMania. And it's twofold, isn't it? Not only does he get the moment of winning the WWE Championship in front of the live crowd, getting the moment he didn't have last year, but also he gets the moment of the big entrance in front of the crowd, the first person to have an entrance in front of the crowd in 12 months. That's a big deal. So I think that's right. And when it comes to the main event, absolutely deserved. Absolutely deserved. I mean, again, I talk about McIntyre opening the show being twofold. There's so many reasons why Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair should be the main event for WrestleMania. So many reasons. I think it's a commitment to women's wrestling by WWE. Because obviously it's not the first time that females have main evented WrestleMania. The first time that happened was at WrestleMania 35. And there were some people at the time, I wasn't one of these people at all, but there were some people at the time that looked at it and said, well, they're only doing that for PR. That it's very cold. They're trying to say that, it's a history-making moment, but women will never main event WrestleMania again. That would be what the cynics would say. Whereas the response to that would be, no, we're going to have females main eventing WrestleMania over and over and over again. And this is point and proof that WWE, they have come such a long way in terms of the progression of women's wrestling in WWE and their perspective of females main eventing shows, having main event matches and main eventing WrestleMania. So again, it's a commitment to women's wrestling. I think Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair are two of the best female wrestlers in WWE, the world today. I think Sasha Banks is absolutely deserving of a WrestleMania main event position. I'm glad to see her get that. But also as well, it's not only that, it's the first time that two females of color are main eventing WrestleMania as well. That's a massive deal, especially in the current climate right now. So you've got, history being made for all of these reasons, and just, if you strip all of that away, don't look past the gender, look past the ethnicity, look past all of that. They're just two incredible professional wrestlers that are two of the best at what they do, and they deserve that position. And it's a real sign of equality. It's a real sign of equality, and it's massively deserved. It's massively deserved. Now, looking back on it now, had we known that Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair was going to be the main event of night one, I would have loved to seen that story be way, way better. And I think the story could have been way better between Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. Instead of doing this, maybe they can be tag team partners. Can they get along? And centering the SmackDown Women's Championship feud around Reginald, Nia Jax, and Shayna Baszler is just madness. It's par for the course, I guess, in this WrestleMania 37 build, that it's just been at points nonsensical and stupid. But to the point that I said before, I almost don't think it matters. It doesn't matter because the event is so big and the anticipation is so big and the fans being back is so big. Having the show take place in a stadium again is so big that it almost doesn't matter how bad the build has been. And I don't say that WWE has known that and WWE was aware of that. I don't think they were. I don't think they're that smart. But they've got away with it. They've got away with it. So I think they've absolutely got the match order correct there. I think it's absolutely the right call, and I think both matches are going to be fantastic. I'm very excited to see that. Speaking of WrestleMania as well, we have the first official proper look at the WrestleMania set, because WWE, after SmackDown last night, revealed the WrestleMania 37 set. WWE has officially revealed the WrestleMania 37 set in Raymond James Stadium in Tampa Bay, Florida. WWE released a video of Corey Graves and Kayla Braxton unveiling the custom set for the grandest stage of them all. The pirate theme set includes WWE's own pirate ship to go with the ship that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers already have in the stadium, cannons and more. WrestleMania 37, of course, starts tonight. WWE is expecting 25,000 fans in the stadium for each night, but it is believed that fan cutouts in the stadium will also be used. Now, I think the set looks great. I really do. I think the set looks fantastic. I love WrestleMania sets. WrestleMania sets, obviously, some of the best sets of the year. My only qualm about it all is that I wish we had these custom sets for every pay-per-view. I miss the days where you had Judgment Day and you had a custom set. You had the Great American Bash, you had a custom set. You had Backlash, you had a custom set. All of that just made these pay-per-views feel special. I understand with the whole LED sets that they have, and it's expensive to do that, but I don't really care. As a fan, you like what you like. And part of the allure of WrestleMania is that you do get these big, extravagant custom sets. So I think it looks great. I was about to say I was surprised that some people reacted negatively to it on social media, but then I guess, again, I'm not. People will always find something to complain about. And when it comes to things like sets, ultimately it's just taste, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's whether you like it or you don't. I think it looks great. I think these WrestleMania sets, and they're huge and they're larger than life, I think they're fantastic. The recent set that I was honestly most disappointed by for WrestleMania was actually the WrestleMania 35 set. It was just a giant LED wall. I mean, that's no creativity. Here, look, you've got a pirate ship and you've got the pirate flags and all that kind of stuff. It's certainly a lot better than the Performance Center. And I think people will criticize and they'll find anything to moan about. I think it looks great. And we're seeing only certain angles of it. I mean, WWE did the official release of it last night, but we're only seeing certain angles of it. It's going to look completely different when you have the entrances of Drew McIntyre or Bobby Lashley or Sasha Banks or Bianca Belair or whoever tonight. So I think it looks great. Credit to WWE, I think, obviously, in keeping with the pirate theme. That was another thing that fans complained about, which I thought was ludicrous. Oh, they're doing a pirate theme again. That was the theme last year. It's in Raymond James Stadium. It's the Tampa Bay area. It's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's kind of the point. It's kind of the point. I can't believe you had the pirate theme 2 years in a row. Well, that's what it is. We'll have the Texas theme next year. What are you going to do? Compare that one. I go, I can't believe they had a Texas theme again. The last time, it's almost the same as WrestleMania 32. Let's use a bit of logic here. It's just, I see stuff like that and just go, you will find something to complain about for anything. It's WrestleMania. Enjoy it. Finally, speaking of enjoying WrestleMania, Becky Lynch, we did a video talking about her yesterday, how she's teasing her return to WWE either tonight or tomorrow night at WrestleMania. Well, Becky Lynch is fueling these rumors and speculation on her possible WWE return at WrestleMania 37 this weekend. Becky Lynch took to Instagram and Twitter yesterday afternoon and posted a random message. Now, fans noted that the first letter of each word spells out Night 1, which could be a teaser for Night 1 of WrestleMania 37. The message reads like this: "Nothing is guaranteed here tonight, only now eternally." And as you can see, it says Night 1 as the first letters of each word. It should be noted that the post was tagged from Tampa Bay, Florida, where WWE has been running for the last several months and where WrestleMania is taking place from this weekend. So, we did a video yesterday talking about this. We did a video talking about the plans for Becky Lynch to return. I think it's interesting because the plans, Dave Meltzer said, this is strange with this one because people are saying that Dave Meltzer didn't say this. I don't know where the rumor came from, but there were reports yesterday saying that there was going to be a segment on SmackDown tonight that was already taped, or last night rather, and it was going to be a ding-dong hello segment with Bayley, and it was going to plant the seeds for Becky Lynch to return at WrestleMania. Of course, SmackDown aired last night. That didn't happen. Bayley wasn't even on the show. So I don't know where they got those reports from, but I think it's probably likely Becky Lynch is still going to return at WrestleMania. I think it's still very possible we're going to have the segment with Bayley, the Ding Dong Hello. I think it could be bigger. Like I said before, I think we could be seeing a situation where it's a Ding Dong Hello segment, but look who else isn't booked on that show. You've got Becky Lynch, you've got Ronda Rousey, you've got Charlotte Flair. That was the main event of WrestleMania 35 2 years ago. They're all not booked. They're all not booked. So you could have a Ding Dong Hello segment, and they could kind of try and do a woman's equivalent of the WrestleMania 30 opening segment between Hogan, Austin, and The Rock. It's not the same, but it's kind of on the same sort of parameters. So I think we could see that. I think people are saying that Becky Lynch could be returning. What about Rousey? And obviously Charlotte Flair isn't booked either, which is odd. So I think we could see a similar situation there. And if that is the case, that would be a WrestleMania moment. That would be fantastic. But I expect to see Becky Lynch at WrestleMania, given the fact of how much the rumors have started to ramp up now. I'm almost sure we'll see her at some point. She's saying Night 1. Given how Becky Lynch is just the ultimate troll on social media and when it comes to the fan base, I wouldn't be surprised if it's Night 2. Irrespective, I think Becky Lynch is going to come back. I don't know if it means that she's going to return to action after WrestleMania. I don't know. This could just be an appearance and then she comes back, say SummerSlam or something like that. Who knows? Either way, it's a massive deal, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to WrestleMania, and it's going to be a lot of fun tonight. So hopefully you join us for the watch-along, and hopefully you enjoy it as well. But of course, as always, it's just one man's opinion. What are your thoughts on all of these last-minute WrestleMania news stories? What are your thoughts on the main event of WrestleMania Night 1 being Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks, the opening match being Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley, the WrestleMania set reveal, and Becky Lynch teasing a possible WrestleMania 37 return? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll do my best to respond and reply to all of your comments. Really enjoy interacting with you guys, talking about WWE, AEW, Impact Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, all things pro wrestling here on the channel. So be sure to get involved in the community, drop a comment below, all opinions are welcome. If you have enjoyed this video, please do smash a like on the like button too. Really does help us out here on YouTube, go up the rankings and get into people's recommendation feeds if they haven't seen our videos previously. But most importantly, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to Wrestling News 365. You can do that by clicking the bottom right hand corner of the screen right now. Or if you wait a few seconds, there'll be a subscribe button at the end of this video, along with another video for you to watch. Thank you very much for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. And I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.